them up. Let's take them back to Nigeria and let's teach them a different kind of job.
It's another lovely day and with another lovely lady on the show, the woman. My name is Elizabeth. Now, I take pride in bringing Nigerian women who are cutting it the way we want it done, who are creating names and ensuring that they make those names real good. My guest today is someone who's gone up and down trying to ensure that things are done well, especially in certain regions, certain environments, the scientific environments. She is a professor of biochemistry and a whole lot of other things put together. But this guest is someone that you would like to hear herself talk. For me, I'll just take a break, lock my mouth, and listen to the lecturer talk. But that will be after this timeout. Don't go away. My guest today is a professor of biochem. I already mentioned that. Her name is Professor Diuto Esiobu. University of Florida, right?
Florida Atlantic.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. How was your trip back to Nigeria?
Smooth.
I know you find time regularly to come to Nigeria to do one or two things. I'll get to find out what you're doing this time around. But I still want to find out, when I had a chat with someone pretty close to you, and I kept asking, why are these women going into science? Why are these women going into medical practice? Why are these women going into scientific research in your family? And she gave me her answer, and I'd like to know, what took you down there?
Well, women are practical in nature, as you know. We like to solve problems. So the brief answer to your question is problem solving. Our father was a practical man. He had 6 of us. And after the war, he called us together and showed us the ruins of the Biafran War, the Nigerian Biafran War, and told us that science was the answer. Yeah, he told us that clearly. So we pursued different aspects of science. In the end, there were 3 doctors from him, 1 engineer, and 1 who does architecture, and a business person.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. I'm sure they were very proud before they left Mother Earth. They were really proud of you.
They were grateful and proud, yes.
Anyway, I still want to go. You have pursued science in a very extraordinary way for me. You were the CEO of Applied Biotech. I know that it works both here in Nigeria and abroad. That's in America precisely, right? Or do you have it other places?
In Ghana as well, but the Ghana branch is at the moment on hold.
Okay. Now I want to know, some other persons will just be, content doing this and earning money, but you have gone deep down into research. What is the propelling factor for you?
Research holds the key to insights, to understanding, and to building those solutions I talked about earlier. So research helps us to hone and practicalize the theories that are taught. So the companies I founded, the non-profit and for-profit, Applied Biotech Nigeria was the first biotech company in Nigeria, founded in 2006. Then Applied Biotech USA, soon after that, and the Ghana one also, but that's just crawling up. The goal is not just to train the next generation professionals, but also to create products that would help solve a lot of societal challenges. And we're working on it.
I know that at a certain forum, I have heard that biotech and research coming from it can actually help with agriculture and health. Can you put more light on that? Because there's a seemingly scarcity of food, so to speak, in Nigeria at the moment.
Food security, with a population, the world population that's already at 8 billion and pushing towards 10 billion, by 2050, we must double food production. And that requires technology, a lot of technology. So part of what I do is actually train people in agri-biotechnology. And there's been this controversy about GMOs and non-GMOs. The truth is, it's just common sense that you need technology. The earth isn't expanding, but the number of people are exploding. In 1963, there were just 3 billion people on earth. And now we have 8 billion pushing towards 10. The world didn't increase or double. So it just makes sense to know that we must use technology to increase food output. So that's what we do in biotechnology. There are many facets of agrobiotechnology, but I know the Nigerians have been talking about engineering plants and seeds and all that. But there are aspects that involve microorganisms. Because without the microbes and the fertile soil, it doesn't matter how you engineer the plant, it's not going to do well. So GMOs still need fertile soils. So that's part of what we do in my company. We help to create bioinoculants, microbiomes, that help these plants, whether they be GMO or non-GMO, to flourish and to increase yield, and also to be resilient to pests. With climate change, there is only one thing that is sure, change. And that is also comes with increase in pests and post-harvest losses. So in biotechnology, agrobiotech, we develop means of preserving foods. In fact, the very engineering of those crops allows them to be resilient to pests, helps them keep after they are harvested. So there are many other protocols that we also use. Now, in terms of health, all of the vaccines that we used during the COVID time is a product of biotechnology research. In environment also, environmental resilience, bioremediation, all of that is what we do, producing and finding ways to source track pollution and to stop it. Rapid detection of pathogens is a very strong passion of mine that I pursue both in the university and in my companies. We work on qPCR protocols, developing probes, and PNA protocols. So many of that we do in the lab to help, because if we can rapidly detect pathogens, then we can control them easily.
Definitely. Now, I know that in the course of your doing your job, some time ago, I think I heard you were doing something with the students in Maiduguri and other states. I don't know, is this still ongoing?
Yes, actually gave a plenary talk to the Maiduguri team that have become very strong in biotechnology. I actually built their biotech center from scratch and trained them. They are my biggest pride. And they are authentic, committed scientists there. So our relationship is ongoing. When I went to Maiduguri first in 2011 or 2012, no one went there.
That was a peak of,
It was a peak. They told me.
You were not scared?
Let me confess, I was ignorant.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what was happening.
Okay.
So I would go anywhere in Nigeria, it was home. So it was when I got there, they told me about all of the troubles, but then I would have done it all the same. So, and from there we forged a strong relationship that has grown through the years. The center that we developed there is currently one of the best in the region. People come from Sudan, from all over the northern Nigeria to learn biotechnology and conduct research there. Just last month, they hosted the Biotechnology of Nigerian, the Biotechnology Society of Nigeria. They hosted their international conference, and I gave one of the plenary talks. And I told them how very proud of them I was.
That's nice. Okay, are you extending the same hands to other parts of the Nigerian environment?
Yes, and I must give credit to Professor Solomon, who unfortunately left us last year. It was his commitment to train the next generation of biotechnologists and scientists in Nigeria. And he told me that he would, like me to go to the 6 geopolitical regions, which we did. I developed a mobile lab. We went to Nsukka. I developed the Biotech Center at Ebonyi, and I took the people from Port Harcourt to the United States to train from 13 universities, actually. We went to Nagrab. We went to, of course, several times in Damaturu, in Nabda, and so on. So, yeah, I went to so many different places. I have graduates and trainees and mentees from every corner of this country. It is my privilege and honor.
That's lovely. Another bird told me that you, at the moment, you're also going into empowerment. I'd like to know, what does it entail and what are you going to be doing? For the women, it has to be for the women.
Honestly, I am, through the years, I have learned about the resilience of women. And so in the village where we come from, call it a town. My husband goes, this is a town. Our village, we're gathering the women from Ezinifte who go to the Emmanuel Church. And we're going to empower these women, 3 categories of women who would do trading. They're petty traders, some who will be doing gardening. We will empower them with biotechnology, teach them to do biofertilizers, and use that in growing ugu, okra, and then buy it from them and give to the hotels in nearby cities like Oka. And then the third group will be those who learn skills, like they would learn how to sew, how to bake special pastries. And so all of that is in the plans, and we plan to launch in the coming December. So if anyone is really interested, the Godly Seeds is engineering. This is the Godly Seeds Foundation, which I started last year. And just in this visit also, I went to Enugu, and I went around the street of the market called Obete. I'd never been there, but I had a passion. So I spoke to every barrow pusher that I met, and I said, come and rest, and I'll pay you your day's wages. They couldn't believe it. But when they eventually started, they called their friends, and you could see I have pictures of their barrows packed. And I spent time with them. I paid each one of them their day's wages. I made them eat and drink malt and bottled water. That's what God placed in my heart to do. It was in part a Thanksgiving offering for your favorite son, Chuka.
Oh my God.
And in part, just because, I cared. They told me, oh, those barrow people, they don't listen to people, they'll push you away. But when they saw my burden and genuine compassion, they came.
Now, were you not maybe scared? Because sometimes we are scared of doing charity because we think people may, take advantage of us.
In fact, a well-respected professor in Enugu told me that they don't talk to the barrow pushers because they are ruthless and they could push me down, they will steal. And I said, maybe that's why God sent me to them. I know from experience that love conquers all. They saw authentic love in my eyes. Some of them were actually, get out of the way, I have to go. So when they looked at me again, they collaborated. I have a list of the names, and I'm hoping to get many of them trained in skills. So I went to the Godfrey Okoye University to ask if they had vocational training center. And my friends, I have 2 friends who have volunteered to help me sponsor at least 10 to go there and learn actually handwork. Because these are young, hardworking, good-looking young men, especially. They were sweating, you could see exhausted. When I brought out the cold water and bottled water, they said, let's give them, what do you call it now? Pure water. I said, no, pure water. And I said, no, they're getting bottled water and malt. They were so shocked when I served them those, and then they gave them chicken and rice. I got somebody to cater for them. And I told them that they were deeply loved and that there was a future. And that what brought me was, in part, their resilience, their hard work. I told them God cares, even if no one here does.
I just wish that a lot of us could get to think more like that, because it just struck a chord in my head that says one of these days I should give this a try and see how it goes. But often I'm scared. I'm sure a lot of other people are scared too because of the, effects, negative effects that might come out of it. But let's hope it doesn't happen to you. You continue to do well. Now you talked about Chuka, and you quickly reminded me of what just happened recently. That's the World Sickle Cell Day. And we had a conversation on camera, myself and some ladies, and some Nigerians were calling in and sending messages. About 2 people said that they were able to change their genotype from SS to AA. Some said they were able to change from AS to AA just by praying. And I'm wondering, you are a scientist. Is it possible to change genotype or blood group just by praying?
I must give full disclosure. I am both a scientist and a praying woman.
Okay.
I'm a Christian as well. I have also seen miracles. So I am not about to disparage religion or my faith. But in all my years, I have not seen one whose genotype was changed by prayers. And I've seen other miracles. That's not to say that what they claim is not true. Having said that, I must emphasize the fact that Nigerian science is an interesting terrain, because sometimes they give you results that are not quite correct. So maybe those women were really not SS or AS, maybe they were AA, or maybe they were AS and they were given a wrong, like I'd received a wrong electrophoretic answer. So that might explain the what they call miracles. And nothing is impossible, so it's really possible that they were changed.
It can happen, but at the same time, it may not just be what it is. It could have been what we call misdiagnosis, and then later on, you get the right one, like you said, it happened to you. And still on the sickle cell environment, I'd like to know, because I often get questions about can I marry this? Can I not marry this? What is science doing at the moment? Do we have new research on sickle cell?
Yes, Nigeria has the highest number of sickle cell cases, as you know, in all the world. About 50% of Nigerians are either carriers or have the actual sickle cell disease. And Nigerians are resilient. So even many SS people live life to the fullest. Now, having said that, we know that it costs the country a lot of effective work hours, especially when they get to their adolescent years. Now, what progress has been made? Number one, the bone marrow transplant, which has been in effect more than 30 years now. But the problem or limitation is that people didn't find perfect matches. When they do the HLA typing, they have 7 genes that they type. You have to have at least 75% homology or similarity to receive transplant. So you will avoid the rejection of the marrow, because then they obliterate the original marrow, which generates the sickle cells. Then they give you another marrow that gives you the right one. So if you're compatible, then you would lead a normal life. Your genotype will be changed, the peripheral blood genotype. Now, so that was grossly limited because people didn't have perfect matches. Just a few months ago, the FDA of the United States of America, in their rigor and the tests, and with a lot of expert input, they approved a new gene editing therapy for sickle cell anemia.
How does that work?
Fantastic news. And that doesn't have any age limit. You could be a baby, a young person, old, 40, because the bone marrow transplant was restricted to people aged 10 and under so that they could survive. But with the current contemporary gene therapy, which involves gene editing, they just go and change. It's a point mutation that causes all of this trouble. So they've targeted it, and it's been successful. Every case that I have read about with this gene therapy is successful. Now, I must say that because it is new, everybody's waiting to see what the long-term effect might be. The way it works is that they bleed the people. They take out your own bone marrow cells, because that's the bone marrow. They're pluripotent. That means they can differentiate and become platelet cells, red blood cells, whereas the sickle shows, and other white blood cells. So they take out your own pluripotent cells, and then they separate them out from the serum, purify those pluripotent cells. Then they send in the enzyme with precision, goes to alter the gene, and then they grow back the cells, and then infuse it back through an IV. So you receive back your own cells with the right copy of the gene. Now, nice. A young 23-year-old who had it in Chicago said that it was like night and day. When they asked him, how do you feel? He said it's like night and day. He said he was so full of energy and life. He didn't know life was like that. He said he could see clearer. He could think deeper. And so these children who have sickle cell and still perform so well, you can imagine how much more they will do with that therapy. Now, the question is, manipulating those pluripotent cells and using external signals outside the body, in vitro, not in vivo, will it have any effect on them in the long term? No one knows the answer. Will it make them develop leukemia, for example? That's a major concern. So they're going to be monitored for a period of 5 to 10 years to see if they have any such tendency. If we can predict, everything should go well, but who knows?
Perhaps we'll begin to export it to Nigeria, hoping that Nigerians can benefit from it. But how cost effective is it?
It will cost a fraction of what the chemotherapy bone marrow transplant procedure cost. In the past,
just a fraction.
That was about $100,000 if you were paying out of pocket to do the bone marrow transplant, and through the 3 months that they follow them, all of the therapies. So, but now this should go for less than $20,000. That's the power of technology.
That's a good fraction anyway. $20,000. That's a good fraction. And if you have insurance, it should be cheaper.
It will come to close to nothing, because it is now an FDA-approved therapy. In the U.S., you don't have to pay. Your insurance will now cover it if you have an insurance there.
All right. You're in Nigeria now for a while, and I'm wondering, have you been able to buy tomatoes, tatashi, and all of that?
I've been staying in the hotel since I came, and each time I ordered an omelette, they would bring me some flat egg, and I said, why is there no tomatoes or something? They say that there is no tomatoes.
It's expensive, and it's not available. And I'm wondering, as a biochemist, what can we do to grow the food better? I mean, the fastest we can do.
In my opinion, the first thing is to understand why the scarcity. Because they used to produce a whole lot. I remember they called me in when there was a pathogen called Diuto absolata. It's called because of its, the name derives from the fact that it zaps tomatoes. It totally destroys tomatoes in the field. So it came up here in Nigeria some years back, and they called me in. We talked about biocontrol agents. That's part of what my company does. We do R&D support to the agencies. So we talked about biocontrol agents, changing the variety of tomatoes that they plant. And soon after that, so what the government did, the NABDA at the time did interventions, and they gave different varieties. They treated the soils fumigated of this pathogen or pest, so that they, again, soon after that, they had a lot of tomatoes. But I was shocked to see when I came back this time that tomatoes became like gold. Ordinary tomatoes.
A small basket or custard bucket, like they call it, is about 25,000 or something.
Possible that this is staged? Is it possible that they're exporting, because Nigeria has porous borders, are they exporting the products?
That could be a possibility, but I think the women who are selling, the men who are selling the market, they all still come to the market, and the stalls are empty, meaning that they don't have anything to sell and they don't have any profit to take home. So I think there is something not right.
Post-harvest losses. Nigeria used to lose 50–60% of tomato products because you don't have proper infrastructure to store them in the field or even to transport them to where they're sold. So one intervention is the biotechnology. But biotechnology is not the answer to everything. But I think the government and the people need to team up to, we've got some of the best arable soils. Nigeria alone can feed all of Africa, with or without GMOs. It is true. Look at the Benue, Niger belt, with the fertile soils. Even the South can grow tomatoes in greenhouses. I just can't understand it.
It's crazy. Okay, let me leave you with your job and then go back to your person a little bit. I saw you dancing away in a party, and I'm like, that's a professor. So does she dance? Well, professor has the other side of life. So how do you relax generally?
You're exactly right. I like to dance. I dance in the morning and in the evening. That's my exercise. I put on music and I play the guitar, as you know. I play to myself sometimes. I get back from work, exhausted from all of the grammar of science. I just play the guitar and sing. I sing for hours, and that's refreshing. I like to cook.
You sing to your husband and children?
If they will listen. I sing to myself most times.
Okay. Before I leave you, I still want to take more messages for women. You know, a lot of us are, you know, at a junction that we really don't know where to go to. You have been able to tell yourself, yes, I can. What message do you have for such women?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You are the bedrock of every society you find yourself in, from the small microcosm of your family to the bigger echelons of the nation. Don't ever underrate yourself. Women have many more genes than men. We have many more body organs than guys. We have a sense, and this is scientifically known, we have a sense that guys don't have. The guys are, of course, physically stronger. So when we team up, we have a great world. You can do everything. Don't ever shortchange yourself.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I like that part. We have more things than guys do. Yes, we are women and we'll continue to do well. Thank you so much, Prof, for coming. And I want to say thank you for all the wonderful things you're doing to grow the Nigerian youth. Be safe as you go back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is all mine.
All right. And say hello to Chuka.
Certainly will. I'll bring him to say hello one of those days.
Okay, so we've been speaking with a professor of biotechnology, a lady who's done so much to reverse the value of women, put it on the right path. She is Professor Diuto Esiobu, and you all heard it. I don't need to add any other thing. Just remember, being a woman, you are a gift to the world. You can do anything. Bye.